First contact gone wrong. Supreme Commander Zaxos of the Galactic Confederation surveyed the holographic representation of the blue-green planet rotating before him. Earth, as the natives called it, a backwater world on the edge of a spiral arm, populated by a species that had barely reached their own moon. The perfect addition to the Confederation's growing collection of resource worlds. Tell me again why we should waste resources on this primitive planet, asked Counselor Vreen, her iridescent scales shimmering under the command deck's lights. They've only achieved nuclear fission. They pose no threat to us. Zaxos' 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of his growing impatience. The preliminary scans show the planet is rich in rare minerals and biological diversity, and the humans themselves. He manipulated the hologram, zooming in on images of Earth's cities, factories, and military installations. They're resourceful, adaptable. Their technology is primitive, yes, but they advance quickly. Better to bring them under our control now than to wait until they develop further. Intelligence Officer Mrek stepped forward, the neural implants at his temples glowing softly. There's something else you should know, Supreme Commander. Our deep analysis of their communication networks reveals an unusual psychological profile. They're extraordinarily territorial and surprisingly aggressive for their level of development. Most species at this stage have unified their planet under a single government. Zaxos dismissed the concern with a wave of his upper limb. All the more reason to establish dominance early. We'll follow protocol. Appear in their skies with overwhelming force. Demonstrate our technological superiority, and accept their inevitable surrender. Then we integrate them into the labor distribution system like all the others. And if they resist? Vreen asked. They won't, Zaxos replied confidently. No species has successfully resisted first contact protocols in over 300 cycles. We'll be mining their resources within a standard rotation. General Elena Vasquez stared at the massive ships that had appeared in Earth's skies without warning. 17 of them, each larger than an aircraft carrier, hovering over major cities across the globe. Washington, D.C., Beijing, Moscow, London, New Delhi, all hosting unwelcome visitors that had bypassed every early warning system humanity had established. Talk to me, people, she demanded, striding through the Pentagon's Crisis Command Center. What are we looking at? The ships appeared simultaneously, General, reported Colonel Jackson, his fingers flying across multiple screens. No atmospheric disturbance, no thermal signature on approach. They just materialized. Any communication? Yes, Mom. They're broadcasting on all frequencies, in all major languages. Messages. People of Earth, we are representatives of the Galactic Confederation. Your planet is now under our protection and authority. Surrender your military assets and governmental control peacefully, and the transition will be painless. Surrender. Vasquez's eyes narrowed. That's not a first contact message. That's an invasion. They're deploying smaller craft now, Mom, another officer called out, heading for military installations worldwide. Vask straightened her back. 27 years in the military had prepared her for many things, but first contact with hostile aliens hadn't been on the curriculum at West Point. Still, the principles remained the same. Implement broken arrow protocols, all nuclear forces to maximum readiness, and get me the president. Supreme Commander Zaxos couldn't believe the reports coming in from the surface teams. The humans were fighting back, and not just symbolic resistance. They were coordinating globally, using their primitive but numerous aircraft and ground forces to attack the Confederation's landing parties with surprising effectiveness. This is unprecedented, Mrek said, reviewing the casualty figures. We've lost over 40% of our initial deployment force. Impossible, Zaxos hissed. Their weapons are ballistic projectiles and crude explosive devices, which they are using with remarkable tactical precision, Mrek countered. And their electronic warfare capabilities are more advanced than we anticipated. They've already hacked 3 of our communication nodes. A blinding flash lit up the view screen as one of the Confederation ships stationed over what humans called Russia suddenly erupted in flames, breaking apart in the atmosphere. How? Zaxos demanded, his composure finally cracking. Their missiles shouldn't be able to penetrate our defenses. They didn't use missiles, Rek replied, voice hollow with shock. They used a kinetic impact weapon, essentially a large tungsten rod dropped from orbit, one of their classified satellite programs we overlooked. Primitive but effective against our shield. Configurations. Counselor Vreen's scales had paled to a sickly yellow. Supreme Commander, I suggest we withdraw and reassess. This species clearly requires a different approach. Zaxos slammed his appendage against the command console. No, I will not be the first Supreme Commander to retreat from primitives. Launch the atmospheric suppressors. If they won't submit, they don't deserve to breathe. General Vasquez watched the massive alien ships begin to emit a greenish gas into Earth's atmosphere, which quickly dissipated into invisibility. Environmental sensors worldwide reported increasing levels of an unknown compound that seemed designed to bond with and neutralize oxygen. They're trying to suffocate us, she said grimly. Global oxygen levels are already down 3% and falling. The president's voice came through on the secure line, tense but resolute. General, the Security Council has unanimously approved Operation Thunderstrike. God help us all. Vasquez took a deep breath of the increasingly thin air. Yes, Mr. President. She turned to her staff. Initiate ODIN protocol. Authorization code. Ragnarok. Actual 739. Colonel Jackson paled but followed procedure, opening the biometric secured case at his station and extracting the specialized command module. ODN deployment authorized. Orbital Defense Initiative network activating. Around the Earth, in classified orbits, specially designed satellites that officially didn't exist powered up. The result of a secret multinational program developed after the near-miss asteroid of 2023, ODIN was humanity's insurance policy against extinction-level threats. Its existence had been deemed too destabilizing to acknowledge publicly. A network of orbital platforms housing experimental directed energy weapons powered by compact fusion reactors. Now, mankind's secret last resort was humanity's first line of defense against extinction. Zaxos was still processing the incomprehensible readings when the first Confederation ship exploded. Not the controlled detonation of a vessel hit by primitive missiles, but the catastrophic failure of a ship whose molecular bonds were being systematically disrupted. What is happening? He demanded as a second ship, then a third, erupted into expanding clouds of debris. Rek's voice was barely audible. They have orbital weapons platforms with advanced particle beam technology. Somehow they've matched the resonant frequency of our hull materials. Impossible. Zaxos roared. Their technological level was drastically underestimated. Vreen cut in. Supreme Commander, we must retreat immediately. We've lost 5 capital ships already. The command deck shuddered as their own vessel took a glancing hit from one of the human weapons. Systems flickered, artificial gravity wavering. All vessels, emergency translocation. Zaxos finally ordered, his voice hollow with disbelief. Return to Confederation space. 3 months after what humanity now called the 14-hour war, General Vasquez stood in a vast underground facility where the remains of one of the alien ships were being studied. Scientists and engineers from nations that had been enemies mere months ago worked side by side, united by the existential threat from beyond the stars. What's our status, Dr. Chen? She asked the physicist who had been appointed to lead the reverse engineering effort. Remarkable progress, General, the scientist replied, barely containing her excitement. Their faster-than-light drive is based on principles we theorized, but couldn't implement without their superconductor materials. But we've synthesized those now, and their navigational data. She pulled up a holographic map that looked eerily similar to the aliens' technology. We know where they came from. We know where their key worlds are located. And the weaponry. Dr. Chen's expression turned grim. That atmospheric agent they deployed. We've created a countermeasure. And we've improved our ODIN platforms based on what we learned from their shields. But more importantly, she hesitated. Go on, Doctor. We found something in their databanks. Earth wasn't selected randomly. They've been systematically conquering worlds with valuable resources for centuries. Thousands of species have been enslaved or exterminated, and they do it the same way every time. Overwhelming show of force, quick capitulation, integration into their labor system. Vasquez felt ice in her veins. We're the first to fight back effectively. Yes, and based on their psychological profiles, that makes us exceptionally dangerous in their eyes. They won't just write this off as a miscalculation. They'll be back with a larger force. The general stood straighter, her resolve hardening. Then we better be ready. Or better yet, we don't wait for them to come to us. She looked at the prototype drive system gleaming under the laboratory lights. How soon until we can build our own ships? The silent hunt begins. Supreme Commander Zaxxas stood before the High Council of the Galactic Confederation. 14 pairs of alien eyes regarding him with expressions ranging from disbelief to contempt. The council chamber, a vast auditorium carved from a single crystal of impossible size, amplified every sound, including his own discomfort. You lost 7 capital ships to a pre-spacefaring species. High Counselor Drax's voice carried the harmonics of barely controlled rage. Explain yourself, Commander. Zaxxas forced himself to stand tall despite the shame burning through him. The humans possess technology we did not detect in our preliminary scans. They concealed their true capabilities. Or you failed to look properly, countered Counselor Fella, her tentacles writhing in agitation. Our data archives show no precedent for such a catastrophic failure of first contact protocols. There is no precedent for humans, Intelligence Officer Mrek interjected, stepping forward despite protocol. Our subsequent analysis shows anomalous development patterns. Most species advance their technology in predictable sequences, but humans make evolutionary leaps. They developed nuclear weapons before mastering jet propulsion. They created global information networks before solving basic resource distribution problems. Are you suggesting these primitives are a genuine threat to the Confederation? Asked Drax incredulously. I am suggesting, Mrek replied carefully, that they are unpredictable. And now they possess wreckage from our ships, including faster-than-light drive technology. A murmur of concern rippled through the council chamber. Preposterous, Fella said. They couldn't possibly reverse-engineer our technology. It would take decades. Zaxxas and Mrek exchanged glances. Our projections based on their historical technological adaptation rate suggest they could achieve rudimentary interstellar capability within 2 solar cycles of their homeworld, Mrek said. Then we must strike again, Drax declared, with overwhelming force. Prepare the eradication fleet. With respect, High Counselor, Zaxxas said, I believe that would be a mistake. The humans have shown they can adapt to direct confrontation. We should instead isolate their system, establish a containment perimeter, and prevent any potential expansion. Drax's eyes narrowed. Your caution comes too late, Commander. Your failure has exposed the Confederation to a potential threat. We will eliminate it before it materializes. He gestured to the guards. Remove former Supreme Commander Zaxxas and prepare him for memory reconditioning. He has demonstrated insufficient resolve. As the guards approached, Zaxxas felt a strange mix of relief and foreboding. Perhaps forgetting his failure would be a mercy. But deep in his 4 hearts, he knew the Confederation was making another grave mistake in underestimating humanity. Admiral Elena Vasquez, newly promoted to lead Earth's combined space defense forces, surveyed the bridge of the ESV Phoenix with quiet pride. Humanity's first faster-than-light-capable warship represented a miracle of international cooperation and scientific advancement. What might have taken decades in peacetime had been accomplished in just 18 months of focused existential urgency. Status report, she requested, settling into the command chair. Captain Raman, Her executive officer stepped forward. All systems optimal, Admiral. Stealth systems are functioning beyond specifications. We're practically invisible to even our own sensors. Weapons systems are at full capacity, and the crew is ready. Vasquez nodded, studying the tactical display showing their position at the edge of the Sol system. And our passengers? Dr. Chen and her science team are secure in the research bay. They're eager to collect data during our first jump. The Admiral activated the ship-wide communication system. Attention all personnel. This is Admiral Vasquez. In a few moments, we will activate the Phoenix's FTL drive and leave our solar system for the first time in human history. Our mission is clear. Reconnaissance only. We will gather intelligence on the Confederation's strength, force disposition, and vulnerabilities without revealing our presence. She paused, feeling the weight of responsibility. Make no mistake, we are the vanguard of humanity's response to an existential threat. The Confederation came to our world uninvited, demanded our surrender, and attempted to suffocate our planet when we refused. They believe us defeated or contained. We are about to prove them wrong. Turning to her navigation officer, she gave the order that would change humanity's place in the universe forever. Lieutenant Okafor, take us to the Proxima Centauri transit point. Initiate jump sequence. The Phoenix seemed to stretch impossibly for a moment, and then the stars blurred as humanity took its first step into the wider galaxy, not as explorers, but as hunters. On the Confederation border outpost designated Monitoring Station Theta 12, Senior Observer Krell was fighting boredom. Assignment to the containment perimeter around the human system was considered punishment duty. Nothing ever happened here. The humans hadn't even attempted to leave their solar system in the 2 cycles since the failed subjugation. Another thrilling shift monitoring nothing. He complained to his assistant, Technician Voss. Protocol requires constant vigilance, Voss replied without looking up from her console. The quarantine directive is clear. Krell made a sound of derision with his secondary breathing slits. The humans are trapped in their system. Even if they somehow adapted our drive technology, they would appear on our sensors long before reaching the perimeter. We'd have plenty of time to. The station's alert system suddenly screamed to life, emergency lights bathing the control room in pulsing crimson. What's happening? Krell demanded, jolted from his complacency. Voss's appendages flew across her control interface. Proximity alert at the auxiliary communication relay. Something just destroyed it. Show me. The main view screen activated, showing only debris where the relay station had been. No ships were visible. Where's the attack vessel? Krell demanded. I don't detect any ships in the sector, Voss replied, confusion evident in her voice. Before Krell could respond, the entire station shuddered violently. Warning indicators flashed across every console. We've been hit, Voss cried. Hull breach in sections 7 through 12. Life support failing. Krell stared at the sensor readings in disbelief. That's impossible. There's nothing out there. How can we be under attack by a ghost? The final thing Senior Observer Krell saw before emergency bulkheads seal his section off from the ruined portions of the station was a brief sensor ghost, a flicker of something that registered for less than a microsecond before vanishing again. Target neutralize, reported the Phoenix's tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Santos. Minimal energy signature detected from our weapons discharge. Stealth systems maintained integrity throughout the engagement. Admiral Vasquez studied the visual feed of the crippled alien outpost. Life signs. Station is compartmentalized. We precisely targeted communication and weapons systems. Approximately 70% of the crew should survive in the intact sections. Their emergency beacon is active. Vasquez nodded, satisfied. This was humanity's third strike in as many weeks, systematically dismantling the Confederation's early warning network along a carefully planned route toward their core systems. Each attack followed the same pattern. Appear from nowhere, strike with surgical precision, disappear before reinforcements could arrive. Recovery team, "You have 15 minutes," she ordered. In the shuttle bay, a specialized team of engineers and intelligence officers boarded a stealth craft bound for the damaged station. Their mission: extract data cores, technology samples, and any useful intelligence before Confederation rescue ships arrived. Dr. Chen approached the Admiral, tablet in hand. "The data from our previous strikes has been invaluable," she said. "We've identified patterns in their communication protocols that suggest they still don't understand what's happening. They're searching for a conventional fleet or signs of mass transportation. They expect us to fight like they do," Vasquez replied. "That's their weakness. The Confederation has dominated this galaxy so long they've forgotten how to innovate." "There's something else," Chen added, her expression grave. "We've decrypted more of their historical archives. The Confederation has subjugated over 3,000 species across this sector of the galaxy alone. Many have been reduced to little more than slave labor on resource extraction worlds." Vasquez's jaw tightened. "Then we're not just fighting for Earth." "No," Chen agreed. "And I believe some of these species might become valuable allies if liberated." The Admiral considered this new perspective. "Update our target priority list. Add any facilities that appear to be detention centers or labor camps." On the tactical display, a new course plotted itself, deeper into Confederation space, toward planets marked as resource extraction worlds. The Phoenix would continue its ghost campaign, striking from shadows, vanishing before the enemy could respond, gradually undermining the Confederation's control of its vast territory. High Counselor Drax slammed his appendage against the table, cracking the ornate surface. 26 outposts attacked in 60 rotations, and still no confirmation of the attacking force. This is unacceptable. The Emergency Council session had been ongoing for hours, with military commanders and intelligence directors failing to provide satisfactory explanations for the unprecedented attacks. "The pattern suggests humans," said Acting Supreme Commander Vex, who had replaced the disgraced Zaxos. "But our perimeter around their system remains intact. No vessels have been detected leaving their solar system." "Then explain how they are attacking installations light years from their homeworld," Drax demanded. Intelligence Director Sorn, who had replaced Mrek after the latter's controversial assessments had proven too accurate, stepped forward hesitantly. "We have a theory, High Counselor. The humans may have developed some form of stealth technology that renders their ships undetectable to our standard sensors." "Impossible," Counselor Fella interjected. "No gnome technology can completely mask the energy signature of a faster-than-light drive." "No known Confederation technology," Sorn corrected carefully. "But the humans have demonstrated unusual approaches to technological problems. They may have developed something unexpected." Drax's color darkened with rage. "Are you suggesting that primitives who were planet-bound 2 cycles ago have not only mastered faster-than-light travel, but improved upon our technology that has been refined over millennia?" "I am suggesting," Sorn replied, choosing his words with extreme care, "that we may need to reconsider our assessment of human capabilities." A junior communications officer burst into the chamber, breaking all protocols of council decorum. "High Counselor, the Rexian mining colony is under attack. The administrative center has been destroyed, and the security forces neutralized." "By whom?" Drax demanded. "Unknown, High Counselor, but the labor control systems have been deactivated, and the slave population is revolting. They're claiming that humans have liberated them." A heavy silence fell over the council chamber, broken only when Counselor Fella spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. "What have we awakened?" On the bridge of the Phoenix, Admiral Vasquez watched the feed from the Rexian colony. The reptilian species, enslaved for generations to mine rare minerals for the Confederation, were overwhelming their former masters. Similar uprisings were occurring on 3 other worlds the Phoenix had visited, leaving chaos in their wake. "Mission accomplished," Captain Raman reported. "The Rexians have control of the colony and have pledged to join our coalition. Their knowledge of Confederation supply routes will be invaluable. Vasquez nodded, but her expression remained somber. This is just the beginning. We've bloodied their nose, but the Confederation controls thousands of worlds. We need more ships, more allies, and a decisive strategy. The second wave of Earth vessels will rendezvous with us at the designated coordinates in 3 days, Raman reminded her. 6 more ships, each built with improvements based on our field data. And the Rexians won't be the last to join us, added Dr. Chen, who had become the unofficial diplomat for humanity's growing coalition. Word is spreading through the subjugated worlds. The myth of Confederation invincibility is crumbling. Vasquez turned her gaze to the starfield on the main view screen. Somewhere out there was the Confederation capital, the heart of the empire that had threatened Earth's existence. The silent hunt would continue, gathering momentum with each strike, until humanity was ready for the final confrontation. Set course for the Caldarian system, she ordered. Intelligence suggests it contains another forced labor operation and a major Confederation shipyard. Time to introduce ourselves to more potential allies and deprive our enemy of their ability to build warships. As the Phoenix vanished once more into the darkness of space, leaving no trace of its passage, a new message began to spread across Confederation communication channels, transmitted by thousands of beings on dozens of worlds. Humanity is coming, and this time, they're not alone. The breaking point. The Grand Chamber of the Confederation High Council had never witnessed such chaos. What had begun as an emergency session had devolved into a cacophony of accusations, demands, and thinly veiled threats as representatives from the 27 senior species fought for attention. The Caldarian shipyards are completely destroyed, shouted Councillor Vrex of the Torani hierarchy, his voice cutting through the din. 4 years of production capacity, gone. The humans didn't just attack the facilities. They liberated 30,000 Morcavian slaves and evacuated them before our reinforcements arrived. High Councillor Drax, once the embodiment of Confederation authority, now looked diminished as he struggled to maintain order. The situation, while concerning, is being addressed. Supreme Commander Vex has deployed the 7th Fleet to secure our remaining production centers. The 7th Fleet. Councillor Fella's tentacles curled in agitation. The same fleet that lost three dreadnoughts to a human ambush in the Procyon sector last month. Your strategy is failing, Drax. The accusation hung in the air like a physical presence. Never in the Confederation's 12,000-cycle history had a High Councillor been directly challenged in such a manner. Before Drax could respond, the chamber's security doors slid open, and a figure entered that caused a fresh wave of murmuring to sweep through the assembly. Former Supreme Commander Zaxos, who had been removed from his position and subjected to memory reconditioning after the failed Earth invasion, walked steadily to the center of the chamber. Councillors, he began without preamble, you face a threat unlike any in Confederation history. The reconditioning failed to remove my memories or my concerns. I came here at great personal risk because what I have to say cannot wait. This is highly irregular, Drax began, but Thella cut him off. We will hear him, she declared, and the majority of councillors indicated their agreement. Zaxos activated the central holographic display, showing a map of Confederation space with red markers indicating human strikes. For 8 standard cycles, the humans have conducted a campaign that defies conventional military doctrine. They don't seize territory. They don't establish bases. They strike, inflict maximum strategic damage, and vanish. The display shifted to show analysis of human attack patterns. But there is a pattern. They are systematically targeting our control infrastructure, communication hubs, command centers, and most tellingly, slave processing facilities. They're not just fighting us, they're dismantling the foundation of our authority. And how do you propose we counter these ghosts? Drax demanded, his tone acidic. We can't, Zaxos replied simply. Not with conventional means. The humans have mastered stealth technology beyond our detection capabilities. Their ships can appear anywhere in our territory without warning. And now they're arming and organizing the very species we've subjugated for generations. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. "What are you suggesting?" Fela asked quietly. "Negotiation," Zaxos said. "While we still have something to negotiate with." The chamber erupted again, but this time Drax's voice cut through the chaos with cold fury. "Negotiate. With primitives. With terrorists who strike from shadows. The Confederation does not negotiate with inferiors. We have ruled this galaxy for 12,000 cycles. We will crush this human infection and any contaminated species that have joined them." He turned to the military representatives. "Implement Directive Omega. Deploy the planet killers." Even among the war hawks of the Council, this declaration caused shock. Directive Omega had been used only twice in Confederation history. The deployment of weapons designed to render entire planets uninhabitable. "You cannot be serious," Fela protested. "The humans have never targeted civilian populations. They've shown remarkable restraint, evacuating non-combatants before attacks. If we deploy planet killers, we become the monsters they claim we are." "I have made my decision," Drax declared. "The first target will be the Rexian colony that defected to the humans. We will make an example that the galaxy will not forget." As the Council descended into shouting once more, Zaxos slipped away, his mind already racing. The Confederation was about to cross a line from which there could be no return, and someone needed to warn the humans. Admiral Vasquez studied the holographic display aboard the Phoenix, now the flagship of a growing fleet of Earth vessels. What had begun as a single ship's guerrilla campaign had evolved into a coordinated insurgency spanning hundreds of light years. 17 human vessels, each incorporating improvements based on field experience and captured Confederation technology, now operated throughout enemy territory. More importantly, ships from liberated species had joined the cause. The Rexians had contributed their mining vessels, now converted to carriers. The avian Calarians had provided their nimble scout ships. Even the silicon-based Mortians, freed from generations of servitude in Confederation manufacturing centers, had offered their living ships, organic mechanical hybrids unlike anything in Earth's engineering experience. The Coalition fleet stands at 122 vessels. "Admiral," reported Captain Raman, "still outnumbered at least 50 to 1 by Confederation forces, but our tactical advantage remains significant." Dr. Chen, now officially the Coalition's diplomatic coordinator, joined them at the tactical table. The physicist had adapted to her unexpected role with remarkable grace, gaining the trust of species whose biology and culture were utterly alien to human experience. "The Javari delegation has agreed to join us," she announced. "Their biomechanical expertise will significantly enhance our stealth systems." Vasquez nodded, but her attention remained on the strategic display. The Confederation is adapting. Their new sensor grids are more sophisticated. They've adjusted patrol patterns to minimize blind spots. They're learning. "Not fast enough," Raman countered. "We've still maintained operational security. No Coalition vessel has been tracked or captured. Yet," Vasquez emphasized, "we can't become complacent. The Confederation has ruled for millennia because they're ruthless and determined. We need to." The communications officer interrupted. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission on the emergency channel. It appears to be from a Confederation official." Vasquez frowned. "Security protocols. Fully implemented, ma'am. The signal is isolated. No trace components detected. Put it through." The holographic display shifted, revealing the alien face of a Confederation commander. "I am Zaxos, former Supreme Commander of Confederation forces. I must speak with whoever leads the human military immediately. Lives depend on it." Vasquez stepped forward. "This is Admiral Elena Vasquez of Earth Coalition forces. Why should I trust anything you have to say, Commander?" "Because I led the fleet that attacked your world," Zaxos replied. "And I have been trying to prevent a greater catastrophe ever since. The High Council has authorized Directive Omega, planet-killing weapons, against your Rexian allies. The attack fleet departs within 6 hours. Vasquez's expression remained impassive, but her mind was racing through implications and possibilities. Why are you telling us this? Why betray your own people? Because this escalation serves no one, Zaxos replied. The Confederation I served was arrogant and exploitative, yes, but it maintained a certain order. What High Counselor Drax proposes is genocide out of wounded pride. I cannot be party to that. Transmitting targeting and deployment data now, he continued. If you act quickly, you can intercept the weapon ships before they reach Rexian space. He paused. And Admiral Vasquez, when you do, remember that most Confederation citizens are not your enemy. They simply don't know the truth about how their prosperity was built. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. Could be a trap, Raman suggested. Possibly, Vasquez agreed. But the intelligence is too specific to ignore, and it aligns with patterns we've observed in Confederation fleet movements. She turned to her communications officer. Alert all coalition vessels near the Rexian system. Transmit intercept coordinates based on Zaxos' data. To Dr. Chen, she added, warn the Rexian leadership. Begin evacuation protocols, just in case. As the bridge crew sprang into action, Vasquez returned her gaze to the tactical display, where a new threat now blinked in angry red. The Confederation was escalating beyond conventional warfare to planet-killing weapons. If Zaxos was telling the truth, humanity and its allies faced a critical juncture, one that would determine whether their insurgency remained a strategic campaign or transformed into a war of survival. The Confederation planet killer fleet moved through space with the confidence of predators who had never known defeat. 6 massive vessels, each carrying enough firepower to render a world uninhabitable, traveled in tight formation, surrounded by a protective screen of 20 cruisers and countless smaller craft. Fleet Commander Nerex observed the formation from the bridge of the lead ship, the Indomitable Judgment. Like most Confederation military leaders, he had risen through the ranks by following orders without question. And his orders now were explicit. Make an example of the treasonous Rexians who had allied with the human insurgents. We will reach deployment range in